Hi, this is Lawrence with A Punk with Toys, and today I'm going to take a look at the Valaverse Action Force Sergeant Slaughter. If you like the video, give me a thumbs up, follow the channel. I appreciate it. It helps with everything I'm doing, and like I said in some other videos, I really do appreciate, I really do enjoy doing these videos, so give me a follow, give me a like, it all helps out. So, let's get into this figure. And let's just start by the packaging. And here's the window, and just like the other two that I've done, I don't have the figure in here. You have the side. Okay, again, I really like the artwork they've done. They're all the same, differently classified, where they're all like they're all the same artist. And then you have the back, which has the panel of figures, and the file card, which once again, I'll say again, we all absolutely loved, and we really wish they would have done it classified, but they didn't. But in Valaverse, or Action Force, they brought that back, and they give us their action points, which is the same as the flag points, and it'll be used to get different things. Then you have your Action Force logo here. Not too much more to go over on that. So, let me start by saying a couple things. I heard a lot of people saying that they were waiting for a Sergeant Slaughter classified figure. I don't think you're going to get it due to the fact that he is a contract with Valaverse. And to me, that's fine, because honestly, I never liked Sergeant Slaughter. So I'm kind of happy that he's not in the G.I. Joe classified, because I would have to get him due to the fact that I've collected every single one because of numerical order, and I'm a G.I. Joe fan. But I've never been a Slaughter fan, even though I do have the original Slaughter, and I'll compare them to him quickly. But if you do want a classified Sergeant Slaughter, one that's going to fit into the scale of your G.I. Joe classified, this figure will work for you. There is no doubt about it at all. He fits perfect, and I'll actually compare him to the Beachhead. And you guys can make your decision. So, here's a quick look at him. He does have sunglasses. I will show you over here. The sunglasses do not stay on all that well. And his hat does come off. So, but he comes with his side piece. I believe it's a 44 Magnum, which fits into his hand or into his holster really nicely. He has a different holster than the other ones that I reviewed. And then he has, and you can hear that it bounces, so this is not a soft piece of rubber. It does fit on his head a certain way. And then he's got his big knife. So, again, these slide in real nice. The holster, it fits, and even though it's open on the outside, you don't have to worry about it falling off or anything. But anyway, this is the figure. Let me start by saying, once again, like the other ones, these figures need to be bathed in hot water. I guess you could use a blow dryer or a heat gun. Again, there was a lot of talk on a lot of these YouTube channels that said, "Hey, they're pretty good right out the box, being able to bend them." Not true at all. These are not my figures. A buddy of mine gave these to me to review, so I've been really cautious with it because I'm worried when I pull the hands out. They do not want to come out. If you don't heat it up using hot water or a heat gun or a blow dryer, you're probably going to snap the wrist right off. Bending the knees, bending the elbows, the exact same thing. The plastic does feel different than classified or anything from Hasbro, and they feel stiffer. It feels a little heavier. It's not like it's a bad plastic, but it definitely feels like only one part of the joint is going to bend. So anyway, I just want to get that out there. I tend to forget some of the things. Let's take a quick look at them, and then you guys can figure out if you want a Sergeant Slaughter figure classified or not. All right, so there we have it. There is the view of the box again. Again, nice artwork. This is the front. The one thing this does come, and I haven't even mentioned it in any of them, is there's a cover. You know what? Let me open this up. I haven't mentioned about any of the other ones, and I've seen the other ones that have done it. And so it comes with this shell that goes over it, but it also comes with this sheathing that you put over the figure, and they said it's on there so if there's any rubbing on the rubbing of the figure, it will not rub off any of the paint apps or anything. Now, I've never seen that, but it's clearly something they're thinking about. And you have this clamshell. So, I didn't mention that in any other videos. To me, it's not that big of it, not that important. So, maybe I should quickly mention that. So, here's the back of it. Again, there's 6 figures in wave 1 and Sergeant Slaughter. Okay, so now let's take a look at the figures. And here is your Sergeant Slaughter, and here is the original 80s Sergeant Slaughter. Now, I can't tell you if this is the one that came with the Triple T. I think it is the one that came with the Triple T. It also may be the one that came in the mail order. I have one, I don't have the other, and I can't tell you which one I have. Maybe I should look at all the books that I have. So anyway, he's not the exact same, but you could make a classic Sergeant Slaughter if you wanted. So we'll start here. He obviously has his black boots, and they tie, they have ties that go all the way up. Camouflage pants. It's harder to see on this in the video. He does have a tank top on underneath his jacket here, just like the original. You could actually go with, if you picked up this figure here, you could take the arms off. You'd probably have to do some painting because it's painted right around there, but you could swap it and have a classic Sergeant Slaughter. Even has the rings around. So I wouldn't be surprised if they actually come out with one that's very similar to that. So, as I mentioned, he does have these glasses. And I can honestly say I'm not too happy with the glasses. Again, not my figure. So, they do fit on him. So they look really awkward when they're on him. Okay? But if you take his hat and you put his hat on and you put it on the right way, the hat looks like it's universal, but it only really stays on one way. I think they would have done a better job had they just given you 2 different hats, one that had glasses already attached to it and one that didn't have it. So he doesn't look that bad with the hat on it, but I'm not a big fan of it. Again, I'm not a fan of Sergeant Slaughter to begin with. So, here's his hat, and as I said before, it's not a rubber hat. You can hear it bouncing. Sunglasses, you got to be careful because you will lose these. And unfortunately, there's no pegs. There's no way to actually hold it into his, onto him. So you are going to lose them. Maybe take some sticky tack if you want him without his hat on, or if you just don't want to lose it, that might work. All right. So, here's the sidearm. Again, I do have these with the prototype pack, but mine's all black. And the one thing I have to say about these figures is so far the guns have fit really, really well in their hands. Okay, so this is the only gun that he comes with. And he does come with his giant knife. So, again, nice figure. He comes with, what is it? So, they all come with 4 sets of hands, all right? They come with their fists. They come with fist hands. They come with cupped hands. So if they're holding a rifle, so if you want a lefty or a righty. They come with the trigger finger hands. It's also holding trigger finger. As someone once mentioned, someone called it the thumb wrestling hand, and I actually like that. If I could remember who it was, I would give them credit for it. And then he comes with a single finger pointing hand because he's a drill sergeant. And if anyone remembers, he was always pointing and yelling and not really doing much because, I don't know, I'm not a fan of Sergeant Slaughter. So, looking at the figure, as I had mentioned before, you have to soak him in water. Everything is pinless joints. So, he is going to get a good amount of bend there. As I mentioned before, the strap here on their guns and their knives or anything that here actually does get in the way, so you don't get as much bend out of it. But I think that's more than enough bend that you're going to need for a military figure. They do have ankle rockers, boot cuts, and the thigh cuts up here. Drop down hips, okay? So you can get them into better positions. Double jointed elbows, again, you can only get so much because of the bulkiness, but that's fine. And again, soak these in water or heat them up because they felt like they were going to bend or break. You take the hands out. That's the biggest thing. I actually did take this hand out after I soaked him. So as I move them a little more, they seem like they're starting to maybe break in just a little bit better, so I don't have to worry about it. Again, these aren't my figures, so I don't want to do anything that's going to cause them to break and I have to replace them. They do come with the Action Force stand, which is a nice looking stand. It's made to look like it's, you know, a metal grate. It has Action Force in it. It has a slit in the back for the file card. And once again, my gripe is the holes here are so tight that they are hard to even get the figure on. Okay, so I'm struggling to get that on. And once again, I used one of my basic ones from Small Joe's, and same issues. So it's not the pegs on here. You know what? Matter of fact, you know what I can do? I haven't tried this. Take a beach head and put beach head on here. No problem whatsoever. Alright? So what it tells me is that the holes on the bottom of the Valaverse figures are too small, or the plastic they use is too tight. There's no doubt that these figures in a tight fit. There's no doubt that they're using two different plastics. Okay, these don't seem to be as loose as I mentioned, where Beachhead has a little bit of looseness. And I've had some figures. Breaker was awful. I've seen a lot of people talk about Breaker. I actually had Hasbro actually replace my Breaker, or sent me another figure because he was so loose right out of the box. These ones do not move barely at all, other than you're going to talk about a little bit. So, there's your Sergeant Slaughter. Again, detail is nice. Like, the paint apps are nice. His face isn't bad at all. Okay? Where, unfortunately, I did the Condor, and I just think he has way too many paint apps. The saying more or less is more is a good point in my opinion. I actually went yesterday on Valaverse Instagram before when they did the production of these figures, and I tell you what, the Condor looked way better before. So here's another kind of a gripe, but not really. This is a $32 figure compared to what was a $20 figure over here. $23 now. And excuse me. And one of the things is that they're talking about everything that they come with. And the hands are nice. Having this hand is really nice for anyone with actual weapons. No, with rifles. Giving them stands. Again, it would help if the stands worked really well. But the one thing about these is, when you look at these boots, this guy here, Carrig, uses the same boots, the same legs, same belt buckle. So actually the waist would look to be the exact, or the crotches seem to be the exact same on all of them. Same upper body. His arms are the only arms that are different, and obviously they use the same hands. Arms here are the same as, or the sleeves, shall I say, are the same, or the upper body here. I guess I was you know what? I take it back. I was wrong. He has rolled up sleeves. he has rolled up sleeves, and he does not. So I guess I was wrong. There are a few other pieces, but basically they've mixed and matched all their stuff. G.I. Joe does the same thing. The beachhead is, a combination of Flint and Duke, Cobra Trooper. So Hasbro does the same thing. I'm not trying to say Valaverse doesn't, but you are looking at a $32 figure. It's a smaller company, so there is a reason for it. So anyway, that's Sergeant Slaughter. On the back, they have pegs for backpacks. None of them come with backpacks, but there is a backpack accessory pack that you can get. Everything does come off, but again, heat these bad boys up, or else you're going to have some issues. Alright, so there you have it. That is the Action Force Sergeant Slaughter by Valaverse. And here he is once again compared to a classified figure. These are all pretty much the exact same height. Where classified, there is different heights for the figures. Gung Ho and Roadblock are taller. These guys are a little bit smaller. Unfortunately, with Valaverse, for the most part, these are all going to be the same because, as I said, they use all the same molds. And I do apologize, anyone that's still watching this, that watched the other ones. Yeah, I didn't realize that Condor's sleeves, so his forearms are different than the Steel Brigade. But, again, same as, or that one's all new, I guess, where they still use the same ones as here. Correct? Yep. Same. So same sleeves. Again, these figures are the same height. To me, that's kind of disappointing, especially considering I think Sarge is supposed to be a larger figure. All in all, he is a nice figure for your G.I. Joe Classified if you like Sergeant Slaughter. For me, I don't like Sergeant Slaughter. I'm happy that Sergeant Slaughter isn't probably won't be in the classified line. But if you need one and you want one, this guy's going to fit perfect. And he actually comes with an actual weapon, which G.I. Joe 1 didn't. He does have his hat. Again, his hat will stay on. But it seems like he has to go a certain way, even though you don't know which is front and which is back. There you go. So that way it tends to stay. But the glasses are something else. You're going to need to take probably some sticky tack, that you get for $1 at Rite Aid, CVS, Walgreens, wherever. And probably just put a little bit of sticky tack and slide the glasses on. Probably shouldn't do it while trying to do it from behind while doing a video, but so that's your Sergeant Slaughter. Matter of fact, I think the glasses look kind of stupid on him. I tell you what, the likeness of them is wonderful. I mean, they do have a wonderful chin. But here's one thing I didn't want to say to anyone listening. If you want me to buy a Sergeant Slaughter, or, well, there's ways to give you buy a Sergeant Slaughter. What would make a great Sergeant Slaughter is an Iraqi sympathizing Sergeant Slaughter. A Cobra Sergeant Slaughter. Now, I know people may think that's blasphemous, but remember, during his run against Hulk Hogan, he was an Iraqi sympathizer. I know a lot of people don't think of him as a bad guy. They think of him as a good guy. And I don't think of Storm Shadow as Cobra. I think of him as G.I. Joe. So everyone sees certain things a certain way. But growing up, this was one of Hulk Hogan's biggest villains. All right? He sat with the Iron Sheik, who somehow became Iraqi. Colonel Mustafa, is that what it was? So anyway, that's your Sergeant Slaughter. He fits in, again, I'll say it again, he fits in good with Classified. I don't think we're going to get Classified because Actionverse has the rights to him. And I'm sure that if Hasbro went to him and said, hey, we'll give you more money, he'd be willing to do that because, let's be honest, Hasbro's going to have more than Valaverse. But I think this was a good way to get people into gravitating to his line, along with the Steel Brigade, which, as we know, with the G.I. Joe figure, And if you know anything about Bobby Vela, watch any of his videos, he has a huge Steel Brigade collection. He comes from Hasbro. He does stuff for G.I. Joe, or did stuff for G.I. Joe. Has his big G.I. Joe collection, I do believe. So he is a G.I. Joe fan. And as I said before, I'm sure if he had his way, he would have loved to have been put in charge of the G.I. Joe brand at Hasbro. But what he ended up doing was starting his own company, leaving Hasbro, and starting Valaverse and grabbing Action Force, which, if you do any research, you'll see what Action Force was, the G.I. Joe brand overseas. So I'm rambling on. Get your Sarge. Yes, so much. You can get them at Big Bad Toys, still on pre-order. Valaverse.com had them. I don't know if they still do. I'm assuming he does because he just got a new wave. Dorkside had them originally when they went up for pre-order, but there's nothing on Dorkside other than like one weapons pack or backpack assortment. So there he is. I'm rambling on. If you liked the video, give me a thumbs up. Follow the channel. I appreciate it. We're doing more videos, more reviews. And if you want, follow me on Instagram, A Punk with Toys. And I'm going to get out of here because I still got 2 more to do sometime between today and tomorrow. Happy toy hunting.